Yo, what's up? Breaking Records Radio and the place to be. Your host, Maloney. We're here with another episode of QUARANTINterviews, quarantine interviews. We'll figure out how to say it one of these days, man. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, man, we here. We chilling. Got a very special guest tapping in with us today. Legend, you know what I mean? East Coast veteran. It's the homie J-Bru. Looking forward to this, man. We interviewed him a few years back. We opened for him. Where was it now? I think it might have been Hamilton. We opened for him and did a really dope interview with him after that show. But yeah, man, it's been a few years, so I'm looking forward to catching back up with him. And yeah, I see he's in the group now. What's up, J-Bru? He's requesting. We gonna, you know what I mean? Jesse, what's up? I see you in the place to be. Sorry, my voice a little hurting today. J-Bru!
What's up? What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm real good, man. How you been doing, brother?
Man, just staying busy, man. Just trying to stay off this the COVID grid here.
Yeah, no shit, man. You know, this shit's fucking nuts, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, eh?
Never seen anything like this in my life.
Never thought I would. You know what I mean?
I know, right? I know. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. I got my girlfriend's pregnant right now, so she's due in June. So
wow.
Whole thing going on. I just been trying to grind and do as much as possible, in the meantime. As much music, as many songs, as many studio sessions, to make up for all the free time I'm gonna lose in the near future. Yeah. And this shit, it's like, fuck, I got nothing but free time now. You know what I mean? It's
right?
Like,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Well, it's big for me. It was big for me because I just had my fourth child actually a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
And like, yeah, thanks, man. 3 boys, and I finally got a girl, so I just been like a little bit of hiatus from music, and man, I need time. I can't get the time. I had a studio going with DJ IV there a couple years ago and just shut it down. And I moved it like into a new place and never set my equipment back up. So this whole quarantine thing happened, and it was kind of like, wow, like it's a sign, You know, I got to find the time. So.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's dope. It's one of those things. It's like I was so stressed out just thinking about like, fuck, finally starting to get some momentum going on some of the shit I'm doing. And then it's like, damn, now I'm going to lose all this free time. And then it's like, I try to see the silver lining and everything. So I'm looking at it, like, this is kind of like a blessing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. There's always a blessing in the darkness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. How many times in life do you get like just fucking months of free time before you have a kid?
That's what I'm saying, man. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even in my case, like I got a nice little job, and my job's paying me to be home. So I'm like, what more can I ask for? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, man. It's amazing. I'm glad to hear you got the studio set back up too, because you have been on a bit of a hiatus, which I was going to ask you about.
Yeah,
that's dope.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's this whole quarantine thing just made me like brought back a little bit of hunger, man. Not that I lost, but just when you got kids and you got responsibilities, man, it's hard to keep up. And now I got a lot more free time. So.
Oh man, that's dope. So we can expect to probably hear some new J-Bru music coming soon, man.
Yeah, I got something actually. I'm not sure when I'm going to start kind of leaking the stuff, but I'm probably going to start leaking it real soon, actually.
Yeah. Dope, man. That's what I like to hear, man. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, jump back in with both feet, man. You know what I mean?
Definitely, man. It's been it's been like what, at least I think like 3-4 years since we chopped it up last.
Yeah, but I think it was like 4 years. Yeah.
Hamilton, but yeah, man. Thanks for coming on the program, man. Glad to chop it up with you.
Anytime, man. Yeah.
And before we jump into the music thing, though, I'm just kind of curious, like out on the East Coast there, like what's it been like with this whole coronavirus shit going on out there?
Well, I mean, we probably we're getting hit the least. I don't know if it's, I know obviously you guys and like BC, the bigger provinces, there's more people. So, I mean, that could be why, like a per capita thing. But, man, it's crazy, man. Like everything's shut down and people are panicking and, but you got to take the precautions to not spread it. And, unfortunately, there's still, like there's anywhere, there's going to be people that don't care or they're just still partying with 50 people and doing the thing. And then people wonder why every day we're getting an increase in the cases. So,
Yeah, man. They just they started implementing fines up here in Ontario just like yesterday or the day before. They started really attacking people with them. So like if you get caught
Yeah.
out basically in like, you know, more than however many people, you know, and you know, they'll ask for your license or whatever. And if your
Yeah.
address line up, then they'll be slapping people with like $750 fines and shit.
Yeah. Yeah. They did the same thing here too. Started like Tuesday or Monday. Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking crazy,
It's
man. You
nuts.
know,
It's nuts.
what do you do? And you know, what do you do? Because it's impossible to stay cooped up all the time. You know what I mean? Unfortunately,
Yeah.
my girlfriend's pregnant, so she actually has to stay cooped up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But,
Yeah.
you know, for me, I can't. Like, I have to at least if I'm not coming outside to like do an interview or something, I'm going for a walk or something. Like, what do you?
Yeah.
You know, to kind of not go insane inside right now.
I mean, yeah, I do the drive thing or go aside. I mean, three of my four kids are under 5, so
Yeah.
I go aside with them, take a walk or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of getting outside, man. I love fresh air, and just one little examples. I've been getting migraines since I was a kid, but when I feel them coming on, sometimes when I go aside, it doesn't go away, but it's what I mean. It gets a little less prevalent. So yeah, I'm just a big proponent of fresh air, man. Love it.
Yeah, and like it's that time of year too, right? You know, a lot of people get seasonal depression and shit. I luckily do not really. You know, it affects all foods, but it's like this happened right at the time of year where people can finally start to get going outside and get that vitamin they need, and then they get fucking
Yeah, it's nuts, eh? Just the worst timing possible. I mean, it's hitting the whole world, so it's crazy to think about. Really.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts, man. Do you a conspiracy theorist at all? Do you have any views on what's going on right now, or?
I'm honestly, I mean, I listen to some of the stuff, but to be honest with you, I'm like the opposite.
Yeah.
Not that I'm gullible and believe everything, but I'm too like I have anxiety, depression stuff. So if I start believing half the stuff, I can't, man. I'm a father. I got to worry about my kids more than anything. So I do hear some of the stuff, and some of them have really convincing arguments, but I'm not really big on conspiracies now.
Yeah, you don't want to go rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Word up, man. But I want to take it back a bit. We did the interview years ago, and I do kind of want to cross reference and cover a few things we talked about there because there was some fun stuff. But I just kind of want to go like kind of just go through the history all together, man. So like I was just kind of curious, like when did you first start rapping?
Honestly, I started rapping. I was like 12, 13 maybe. I didn't take it as serious, obviously, but there was myself, my brother was an R&B singer, and we had two cats, a guy named Terry Dixon and a guy named Ivan Ski from down here. And we all used to make tapes and like rap like constantly all the time. Which is weird. A weird thing for me is that, we all did that kind of thing, and everyone has a story. Oh, I started writing when I was 12 and blah, blah. But for me, I got real serious into sports, and I played university and a bit of semi-pro basketball.
Yeah.
So I put the music behind me, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I really got a bad injury that I ended up meeting class and kind of put my all into it. But so from like 12 to 15, 16, I would write and poetry and stuff and record a little bit and things like that. But I just kind of stopped for like 8 years and then got back into it. So, it was early on when I started. Yeah.
What was the injury that you got?
Well, I tore my Achilles.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I did it twice on the same foot, so they're pretty much like, yeah, you're done. Yeah.
Damn. That's one of those things through your whole life that just comes back and kicks you in the ass, right?
Yeah, I know. I remember my surgeon the first time I did it, she was like, "That's the first. It's the worst injury you can have to your lower body.
Yeah.
Like just not just the pain of it, but just the overall impact on your body." And then I did it again like 5 years later. So I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Man, well, I've opened for you, the one time, but I seen you live back in the days when you were touring Classified, hands full of times, at least 5 times probably, but I know you used to like to have your drinks and shit back then, stuff shows. Did you ever have any times where like you just went so hard on stage and then like you're on the middle of tour and fucked your Achilles up like from just jumping around?
Yeah, well, we were in Australia touring with the Hilltop Hoods, And I think it was like the second night there, first show. I'm excited. I've never been to Australia. Me being me, like I was the kind of the show off class clown of the group.
Yeah.
And after the show, you know, I never met the Hilltop Hoods guys before, so they heard all kinds of stuff about me being like this crazy guy, and so stupid me being a show off. I tried to jump over a couple cars in the parking lot outside the venue, and I I fucked up my leg. I didn't like tear my Achilles again, but I limped for like 3 weeks. I did the whole tour like limping real bad. Yeah.
Holy shit! You can't even like treat properly when you're on the road, fucking moving.
No, I just kind of pop Tylenols every couple hours and live with it, right?
Damn, man.
Yeah.
I'm curious too, like, you know, well, I guess there's two questions that kind of spawn off, you know, what you'd said, but I guess the first being, because you mentioned when you got the injury, that's around time you met Classified. Like, how did you and Class originally link up and meet?
Well, it was kind of a two-part thing. I was actually like, my dad lived in a place called Bedford, which Bedford to Halifax is like Toronto, like Hamilton. It's not very far at all, right?
Yeah.
So I was on my way just to visit my dad, and I saw this guy, Garnet Esterbrook, who was the manager of Ground Squad, which was Classified's group at the time.
Yeah.
And I knew half of Ground Squad, so you know, I started talking to Garnet, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing home?" I said, "I'm rehabbing, but I'm thinking about getting back into music or whatever." And he was like, "You know, Garnet told me like you got to meet this guy, Class." And I never heard too much about him or anything, and I didn't know too much, to be honest. I was living up in Ottawa. I wasn't really up on like the Halifax hip hop at the time.
Yeah.
And I happened to be friends with actually Spesh K. I went to university with Spesh's sister, and you know, so kind of between Garnet and Spesh K, we kind of linked up to meet with Class, and you know, I went to have a couple of drinks at his house one night, and the rest is history, really. Like I think 3 weeks later, I was his hype man, and you know, it goes on from there, really.
Crazy, man. And
Yeah.
Spesh K, man, that's my dude right there.
Shout to Spesh, man. He's one of a kind. I love that guy.
We got an EP coming out in the next couple months.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
You know, he's been on dad duty lately. Hasn't really.
Oh yeah, I know the feeling. Trust me.
Yeah. But we recorded it about two years ago or so. And,
Okay.
you know, then he moved away, and then, you know, just things got put in the back burner. But we were actually just talking like last week, and he gave me his blessing to put it out. You know, finish, touch it up the way I wanted, remix some of our old points, and just make a whole thing of it. So, right before I called, went live to talk to you, I was actually working on editing.
Okay.
Tracks there, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
That's dope. Good to hear, man. I'm glad you guys are staying busy for sure.
Yeah, man. Shout outs to Spesh K, man. That's the homie. But how did you and Spesh know each other before you went off to college, or did you meet through his sister?
No, yeah, we met through his sister. We had a lot of mutual friends, and especially a lot younger than I am. But so what happened was when I came home and I was rehabbing, I went to a university down here called Mount St. Vincent. I played ball. Probably shouldn't have been playing, but I was playing on the varsity team. And his sister was on the girls' team, the female women's team. So, you know, my brother like is very into hip hop and blah blah blah. And like so many people have always come up to me like, "Oh, my brother does this," or my little cousin. And you hear them sometimes like, "Oh my god," like, okay, you know what I mean? But when I met Spesh, it was just like we clicked right away, and he knew so much about hip hop for his age. He was in high school then, and he actually I had a set of Tech 12s that I actually was trying to get rid of. Just I was broke at the time, needed some money, so I sold all my like vinyl and my turntables at Spesh. So it was like, it was cool because he was only like 15, 16, but he knew all about all the vinyl I had. Like, so I was really impressed for that, right?
Wow. So Spesh used to actually DJ at one point. Or
I mean, he didn't. I don't think he DJ'd to DJ. He just loved vinyl, and he was like, you know, he wanted to collect records and stuff. But he was kind of like a historian for his age. I couldn't believe how much he knew about hip hop at that age, really.
Yeah. And you know, that's real cool. And you know, I interviewed Quake a couple weeks ago, and he said the first time he met Class was you took him there for a studio session.
Yeah.
So.
I produced the track for Quake, and it was like I heard a little bit about this little Quake guy and blah blah. He was only maybe 14.
Yeah.
And he was hitting me up on this group we had called Hella Famous, and you know, he's like, "Yeah, can we like do this track?" Da da da. and I was making beef a lot at the time. So anyway, I told him I produced this track, and he wanted to like meet class or whatever. So I was like, well, come record this song at classes, and he was like super excited. And I think he just interviewed class the other day, and class told the story. But me and class are in the studio, and class looks at me, and he's like, yo, there's like two little ass kids like on my front porch. Like, are those the guys that are coming to record? So I look out and I see Quake and these two little BMX bikes, and Quake looks like he's maybe 9 years old. I swear to God. And so anyway, I never met Quake before either. So I'm like, I guess that's them. So I go downstairs and bring them up, and just the rest is history, man. He went and recorded this like fire little track for his age, and I shouldn't even say for his age. It was just a good song, but you could see the excitement in Quake, like meeting class, and you know, just I guess hanging with us, and we had a little cipher after, and I think a couple other MCs showed up in the middle of his recording session. So it was a cool experience, just for me being like the uncle guy. Like I love to connect people like that, right? Like I love being a part of people's stories. So.
Yeah, man, that's so cool. You know, like just like that's the type of shit I love learning about. You know what I mean? Like just like you know, the behind the scenes stuff, how things came to be, and that kind of shit. That's crazy. So you didn't even know Quake before you invited him over that day.
No, and that's the thing. Like I was saying about the conspiracy thing. Like I'm just a trusting person. You know what I mean? Like, and but for some reason, I probably could have brought him somewhere else, but I was going to classes all the time. Then I was like, man, do you mind if this guy comes and records a little thing? I made the beat for him, and class was like, no, man, cool, brought him over, and you know, it's the rest is history, like I keep saying.
Wow, man. And so did Quake meet Spesh through you then too, or would you have met him through class?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, we were all kind of in the same, you know, circle of people, and Quake was coming and doing battles and stuff like that at like super young, like 15, 16. Wow. So I'm assuming that's where he met Spesh, but I don't know the real like behind stories of it. Behind the scenes story of it.
Yeah, man. You know that Facts 4, that shit. You know Quake's verse on that and the Mean Old Limp.
Yeah, man. Those guys. There's so many groups like that, and just even solo artists that maybe aren't doing stuff no more. Like someone's got to do like a documentary on Halifax hip hop, man, because it's there's been articles here and there, but they skip 50% of the good artists, and someone that really knows hip hop. There's a guy down here called Hermit of the Woods. Okay. Yeah, he's actually a professor at the university here, and he does like a hip hop class, and he knows more than probably anybody combined put together down here. So if anyone's tapped to do that documentary, I'd pick probably him for that.
Yeah, I should try to do an interview with him if possible, because that's one thing I love, man. You know, like Canadian hip hop is so undocumented. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it is like extremely undocumented. And one thing, you know, when I started the show, I really wanted to kind of try to build, you know, more so like at that time, Toronto hip hop, right? And the history of Toronto hip hop, even it itself is so undocumented, you know. And the thing is, a lot of the, you know, at least around here, a lot of the vets, it's like they don't really want to talk. Like it's easier for me to book an interview with fucking like Busy Bone than it is for like
I don't know why that is, man. Yeah.
You know, it's like it's like you know, so that's kind of, you know, it made it difficult to ever really do that. But you know, that's one thing I love, just interviewing Canadian artists like veterans like myself, is just you really put the building blocks together and really start to, you know, really learn the scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
I think what's dope about Halifax too is like, you know, I just told you how I kind of met Quake, and Quake met Class and Spesh, and then the Garnet, and you know, they might have a different story. Like there's so many layers to everything, and there's, you know, you saying the undocumented thing. I was just last night, you know, obviously we're quarantined. Me and my girl was sitting there, and she likes battle rap, so a couple of my boys obviously did King of the Dot. I did King of the Dot, like Miracle, Quake, Chronic. People came down from the east, but you know, and Pat obviously did his thing too. But a guy down here named Casper that was in Elements League, and like he just murdered the whole Elements League. And then for some reason never did King of the Dot. And I don't know the business side of it or how that works, or if he just maybe didn't want to go in King of the Dot. But that's one guy that, like, if you documented battle rap in Halifax from way back, like everyone knows his name. But like he just, you know, he up and got a good job, went out west, got married. You know, probably took the right life path. But there's lots of people going like, where the fuck did the Casper guy go?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So he'd be a big part of, if you did a battle rap documentary in the East Coast, he'd be a huge part of that.
Would that be Casper, like on This Is 4 when Class is doing all the shout outs? He's like, Casper.
No, that's a different Casper. Yeah. Yeah, this guy, his name's Blake McKinnon, and he was in a group called Top Guns, DNA Records. They actually signed Pat like early on before. I think he was only maybe a few battles into the Elements League. They end up signing Pat, but no, I don't say sign like Def Jam or anything like that. But you know, it was a local little label here, and they had some dope artists on it, and Casper was one of them. So,
oh, word. When you were coming up, like you know, out east, like who were some of the artists, like, you know, local artists, like you looked up to, or like were there any that like kind of mentored you early on in when you were coming up?
It's a funny story for me, honestly, because there was guys like Universal Soul, Tactician and Fizz, DJ Joe Run, people like that.
Yeah.
That, you know, I heard of, and like for me, I went from high school and I went right to Ottawa, and then I moved to Boston. So I missed like the peak era of the Halifax hip hop, like for the old school cats that are even my age, right? So I didn't really like get into the thick of it until I was in my 20s. So for me, I'm looking up to guys younger than me, like Class, and people that took me in. Ground Squad, you know, Nathan C is one of my favorite MCs of all time. Guy from down here, just like, you know, one of the rawest MCs ever down here. But yeah, so you know, there's some older cats that, you know, I love them and I respect them well, but they really didn't have much to do with my career, because by the time I moved away and came back, they were already, you know, got jobs, kids. They weren't really into the music scene as much. But you know, you sold mostly for the older guys, and then Class. Honestly, I met Class and. You know, I just learned so much from him, like from day one. Yeah.
Yeah, man. You know, it's crazy. Like Classified, you know, the spotlight he really put on the scene you guys had down there, you know, and one thing I really respect him for is, you know, like up in Toronto, you know, you had cliques of people, you know, who put on people, but a lot of times it was like their boys. Like, you know, you had like the Cardinal shop there, like, but they were all like people, you know what I mean? But like, a lot of times in Toronto hip hop, you don't have like that kind of unity. Like, you know, from the outside looking in, watching you guys when I was younger, I assumed all you guys were boys and went to high school together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
Learning your guys' history, like you guys all kind of just came together through the scene, like the Halifax scene.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I really respect Class for, is like, you know, even as his platform grew and he got bigger, he was still putting all you guys on records and shit. Like, it was still like, you know, really put a spotlight on the whole Halifax hip hop scene. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Honestly, even from day one, you know, Class is always about his business, and there's some misconceptions on kind of why I stopped touring with Half-Life and this and that. It was really just a business decision at the end of the day for them. Like, it's, you know, he's bringing 8, 9, 10 people on the road. It gets expensive, and at the end of the day, at the time, you know, I was just a hype man. He had drummers, DJs, and stuff. So I was probably least important on the totem pole. You know, sad as is to say, but you can't, you know, comes a time where you got to buck up and, you know, do your thing. So he also knew I was self-sufficient as a solo artist, so it was easy for me to do that transition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Word, man, you know, and actually, yeah, because I was actually wondering, too, because you were actually signed to Half-Life at a point, right?
Yeah. I released 2 albums on Half-Life. And a couple singles, but
Jason
what is it?
Half-Life.
Yeah.
Like,
one of them I got like factor funded through Half-Life. Yeah.
When did why did you ultimately end up like leaving Half-Life?
Well, I mean, it was not necessarily like, you know, here J-Bru left Half-Life. It was you know, I had like Blueprint Music, my own label going. I was on tour with Class and the boys. You know, I went 12, 13 years strong. And there came a point where, you know, Class, there was an offer. We were in Costa Rica, actually. And he got a call from Headley at the time. Obviously, Headley was the biggest thing on the, you know, North America.
Yeah.
We got an opportunity to tour with them, but, you know, it was for like shit money. And Class was like, you know, I understand if you guys don't want to come, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, you know, I got to pay my bills kind of thing, so I'm not going to go. So they went and did the tour, a couple of them. And when he came back, they were playing like another tour. And I was actually working on my next solo record. You know, so it just, the timing kind of just worked out perfectly. You know, so he had another big tour coming. I didn't go. If I had gone, I probably wouldn't have finished my record. Who knows? But yeah, it was nothing like there was no animosity. There was no I'm leaving Half-Life. I just kind of stopped touring with them, and I was still, hanging with them when we got home. I go do some shows here and there with them locally. Occasionally fly. I flew to Toronto a couple of times, did a couple of shows with them.
Yeah.
There's no real story to why I left, to be honest. And if you ask him, he'll probably say something different. I don't really know.
Yeah. Did you did you guys ever like sign contracts on the label then, or was it just kind of like
It was all just kind of home. It was all homie driven. Like
okay.
Yeah, which I mean, for me, I was one of the first artists signed there, and then he did like the Chad Hatcher, the Jordan Crouchers. There was some people that he tried out, like doing singles with, like Ghetto Child and Miracle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as far as like a signed Half-Life artist, I think I was one of the only ones besides like Mike Boyd, maybe Chad and Jordan. But yeah, it was all honestly. By the time I even signed with him, I was 8 years strong touring with him, so we didn't need the paperwork. You know what I mean? Like, to this day, like business was always straight. Factor funding came, and everything happened there. We just kind of worked business wise, and we're grown men about it. You know what I mean?
No, that's really dope though too. You know what I mean? Because then when things, when life gets in the way and you guys kind of have separate routes, you're not caught up in all the bullshit. Unable to leave music, do your thing. Like you're just able to go your way when, you know what I mean? When it's time, when it's kind of the best move for you. So that's really dope. I never realized that that's how kind of Class worked with you guys, which is just another testament to I really respect his work ethic, man. You know what I mean? Just the way
it's honestly, I've never seen nothing like it, to be honest, man. Like I know I didn't tune in for long, but I watched a little bit of his talk with Quake the other day, and he was saying he went to Compton College. He worked for I think it was like a MT&T at the time, or like Bell Alliant, like a internet provider. Yeah. And he got laid off, and he was like, I got unemployment for a year, and if I don't start to at least see some dividends off this or some fame, I'm just gonna go back to work in a year. And I went on the road with him, man. We were sleeping on promoted floors and doing shows. There's some shows we had to come out of pocket to get to the next city on a Greyhound, and to watch him from that to go to where he is now, man. It's like, I always say it, but I'm like a proud uncle for all them guys, especially Class, because he did it the right way. He toured 3 or 4 times a year across Canada out of his own pocket. Even when he was signed to major labels, he would pay for his own bus. He don't like own people money. It's like, it's a smart business decision. So, they can give him I'm just throwing numbers of whatever, but $500,000 budget. He's probably not even going to spend a dime of it. Where most artists go and spend that and get the features, and Class don't want to do that. So, he made the blueprint for how to be a famous Canadian artist. And I don't think there's anybody that can come and kind of take that same route now. Times have changed, right? With all the social media and stuff. It's not the same, man. We were touring when there was no Facebook. There was no, you're hyping the show by getting to the next city and going to the mall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You weren't just on Facebook Live or, Instagram Live or Snapchat. You just literally had to go meet people and be like, yo, we just doing the show tonight. Then we had 20 people at this show. The next time we come back, it was 40. Next time it was 100. Next time it's 1,000. Like, so, Class really did it like from the ground up. And he says it a lot, and, I say it a lot too, but it's grassroots, man. It's how he did it.
Yeah, man. It's always really grassroots. I was lucky enough to, I don't watch you guys from the start, but I caught on to you guys around like when Class dropped You Dead Now, the long lost music video that no longer exists. Once on Rap City, and then just the way it is. So trial and error is when I caught on to you guys. Then I see you guys in London probably later that year or the next year. But I was lucky enough to catch on like right at that cusp before you guys really started to, with you, probably like 50, 70 people in London. Next time I see you guys, it's probably fucking easily 200 plus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To see the growth though, almost kind of firsthand. Cool, man.
Honestly, man, it's like it was cool to see it as an artist, but obviously because for the most part, like every time we toured, like I would be the opening act for him or the main opening act. Yeah. But I also was somebody, as you can probably attest, I've had so many conversations at shows with people like, oh my God, I can't believe you're like out in the crowd. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to be doing? You know what I mean? Like, but they just saw a Mad Child, or they just saw so and so. No disrespect to Mad Child, but I'm saying like I've had these conversations where these artists come out, perform, they come on stage and they leave. Right? For me, I'm on stage with Class for at least an hour. I'm on stage by myself for 15, 20 minutes to a half hour.
Yeah.
And then, so before that, I'm running around the venue. I'm trying to check people and smoke with them and drink. And, you know, I'm there as a business person as well. So, like, because I'm on stage for so long, you know, if I want to really hype the J-Bru brand, I'm out there shaking hands. I'm out there kissing babies, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's just how I am. And I've had so many conversations across Canada where they're like, you know, I can't believe you guys are coming on stage, and even Class would get on stage after doing an hour and a half set and sit there and smoke for 2 hours with people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But to us, that's normal. Like, so when people say to us, I can't believe you're doing this, it's just how we are. I don't know if it's the East Coast thing or what, but it's just how we are, you know?
Well, no, you know, you guys are super friendly out there, man. You know, I had a chance to come out there and tour with Robbie G on not his last tour, the tour before. You know what I mean? So we did like 11 dates out there. It was my first time in the East Coast. Holy shit, man!
Oh yeah,
yeah, man.
Yeah. It's a different, man. It's a different world.
You guys are there, man. You know, the hospitality and you know, people will come out to show, and even if there's like you know, a couple shows might have had like 10 people tops there. You know what I mean? But the people there were having fun. You know what I mean? Some of the fun is, I'm just partying with the people that were there. We just had fun. You know what I mean? Like,
seriously. It's the East Coast is a different world, man. It's like, you know, even touching on the low numbers, like for me, one humbling experience was when I left, you know, touring with Half-Life and them, going from 1,500 to 5,000 people a show. And then I did a CD release party for my next record. And I had like maybe 150, 100, if that. You know what I mean? Some shows I've done had 20 people. So I'm also knowing I've never been like, I'm better than this guy or da-da-da. So, you know, while it was kind of like, oh shit, you know, my reach wasn't what I thought it was also good to meet the people that were there just for me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad I got to experience that, because if I think I was still on tour with Class and them guys, I'm still like the hype guy, crazy on stage. Like, I wouldn't have appreciated the people that were there, you know, to see me.
Yeah.
You know, then there was sometimes it was funny, but like BC the most, but sometimes in Toronto too, I would get 5 or 10 people like at one of Class's shows, like, yo, I don't pay $20, $30 to get in those shows, but I paid that to come see you. And, you know, it was a real, it's always been love, man. I love touring Canada. And I've been, you know, Europe and Australia and stuff like that, but there's nothing like touring Canada, nothing.
Yeah, is Canada your favorite to tour out of everywhere you've been?
Yeah, I mean, Europe was a movie, bro. like just meeting the different cultures and people. And for me, like the biggest place I clicked was probably Germany. Like at the time, I think 2 years before, I had a couple records that reached there through radio.
Yeah.
So we're on tour, and like it's Classified, D12, and Royce, and but then I ran into this guy like at Foot Locker, and I'm standing there with D12, and this guy runs through D12. He's like, J-Bru, like blah blah blah, and I'm looking at him like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, you know me? So Germany was a big thing for me, just being there. I think I did have a few fans there, but yeah, there's nothing like touring Canada, man. Like the little towns, and the Torontos and Vancouvers are good too, and Calgary's, but like the little towns, Nelson, BC, and London, and you know, just some little shithole places up in the mountains up in Alberta, man. Some of the best shows, because you know, you're in this little town and it's like maybe a couple thousand people on a Friday night. They got nothing else to do. They might not even be a fan of hip hop, but they show up, they get drunk. And, you know, as you know, like, especially the Half-Life brand, like that kind of music is really good for the drinkers. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, and those they really appreciate it too. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they not only do they come out, but even if they weren't a fan of hip hop, they were just going to the bar that night and end up there. They'll end up like leaving with a CD or a shirt or something. You know what I mean? Like,
CDs and shirts that buy you a shot. Like, I'm talking to some guy that I probably would never speak to in my life.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh man, like I don't even like hip hop, man, but you fucking rock. And you're like, oh, thanks, buddy. You know what I mean? So it's funny. But yeah, the small town Canada is crazy too.
Yeah, it's super important too. You know, a lot of artists to build, you know, to build that brand by consistently touring. Those are the markets people gotta hit. It's funny, like, because you know, sometimes you get the dudes from out west who come like to Ontario to do like, you know, the tours or whatever, and set it up through whatever, you know, whoever's you know doing the tour promotions around here at the time. And they always like Robbie G, for example, right? Example, because a lot of times when he's doing shows, like a lot of times he purposely intentionally misses Toronto, because he says, for one, it's a hard market, and for two, it's not only a hard market, but it's just the venues cost so much money, you know, so it's this huge overhead cost that goes into
Yeah.
doing it. And
Yeah.
then the turnouts a lot of times aren't what you're expecting, you know, unless it's like a certain
Mhm.
name, but so much going on in Toronto, and it's so
Yep.
hard to target the audiences and promote to them all. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
it's so
Yeah.
scattered everywhere, right?
It's tough. It's tough. Like, you know, another classified mode of the touring is hitting those small towns too. Like what you just said about the West artists. The same thing was happening at the time when we first started touring. Like the Toronto artists were going like out west and doing 5 shows, and then Class going out west and doing 35 shows from Alberta to BC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's not a knock on those guys. It's just like maybe, you know, more maybe gangster type rappers not going to sell as much in like a little town in like Skiville, fucking Alberta. You know what I'm saying? But Class has the fun music, the drinking, the Maritimes, and there's lots of Maritimers all through Canada. So he always had that draw. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny too, man, because you'll see, like, you know, I can always tell when an artist, you know, when they book, like through Robbie especially, because, you know, we've had these conversations out Toronto. But I can always tell when, like, an artist, you know, because artists from other places, they look at Toronto like it's the place, right? So like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I can't wait to rock Toronto. Little do they
Mhm.
know, it's actually like a lot of times can be the worst city to perform in.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah.
tell when the artist requests that they want a Toronto show because they'll do a Toronto show, and then it's like,
Exactly. Yeah.
you know, I've, you know, I'm not gonna name names. I just don't want, you know, it seemed like I'm
Yeah.
slighting
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But a few popular rappers from like out west, you know, pretty good buzz. They do
Yep.
the other small towns, you know,
Mhm.
half the venue sold out. I've literally been to 2 different shows last year alone of 2 pretty big artists from the West Coast, maybe 15 people tops in this fucking massive
Wow.
venue.
That's
You know,
crazy. Yeah.
it's one
It's
of those
nuts,
things.
man.
It's, oh, next night they're in
Yeah.
London and it's like people, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's hard for them to
It's
go there, you
crazy.
know? But
Yeah.
it is what it is like that, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
another thing you mentioned was touring with D12, and I was just curious, what like what's like one of your craziest memories from being on the road with those guys?
Um, I mean, those guys are just crazy, man. Like in a good way though. Like honestly, um, like for me especially, like I don't know, we're a little close in age and like attitude and just the way we like just kind of walk and talk. I think, but me and Swifty connected like really well. Like we went on 2 tours with him after the first tour. He was like, "Yo, here's my number. Like, if you ever come down to Detroit, stay at my house, man. I got it. You know, da da da. You're good." Me and him just really, really connected. But I mean, as far as crazy, I mean, God, there's so many stories I couldn't say. But I
Yeah.
mean, like, you know, I was talking the other day with somebody just saying how like Bizarre would just like fall asleep like mid conversation. We'd be on the bus, man. You know, like, the guy's a beast in like Madden. So I'm like, you know, I'm like, yo, man, I'm like crazy at Madden, da da da. He's like, oh yeah, are you good, eh? And so we play, and he beats me like 70-14 or something. I'm like, what the fuck? So like he goes and plays somebody else. I don't remember who it was, but he's like literally falling asleep in the second quarter of the Madden game. So I'm like, damn, I'm like, is it narcolepsy or whatever? Like I don't know. But I mean, it was that. There was those guys just nuts, man. Like they're following, and I mean, we toured with them. Obviously, Eminem wasn't there, but even when we toured Europe with D12, like just to see like the crowd reaction with them, and you know, I mean, those guys just seasoned professionals, man. Like I've toured with so many people where it's like, you know, I'm not the best artist, the most bar for bar crazy rapper, but like I always try to put on a good show.
Yeah.
And it was good to see because with the D12 tour, that was the first time I toured with somebody bigger. Like 100% was like, these guys are the shit. You know what I mean? Like I've toured with some rappers that are like, I think are amazing artists, but then they suck live. Or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They just go there and they're fucking like puppets doing the same thing over and over. But D12, every night they were switching up little things. They had little like choreographed moves for certain songs. And I just learned a lot from them guys, man. It was dope.
Yeah. What would
Yeah.
be like one of the biggest lessons you took home just from being on the road with someone of like their magnitude?
Actually, it goes back to the point of you saying about the 15 people, but obviously every show they did was sold out, if not close to it. But we had this one venue. I can't remember what city it was in. It was in Europe anyway. There was something. It wasn't the coronavirus necessarily. But there was something going on where like people weren't going outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly what happened. But anyway, we went on with the show, and like it was like a half filled maybe. And they killed the show. It was one of the best shows. And just like after the show, we sat down, we're drinking on the bus and stuff, and they're just telling me like, whether it's 15 or 15,000, it's like we're connecting with the people. You know what I mean? And there was one thing I know from my standpoint, which I never did. Like, I don't know if it's part of my anxiety or whatever, but I don't look people in the face when I'm rapping in the crowd.
Yeah.
Right. But after that, I started to a little bit because I was seeing the connection they were having. You know what I mean? Like, you'll see that one little drunk dude that knows word for word your whole shit, and that motivates you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's something I saw all the time with D12, and that's something before that I wish I had started, because I would just go do my set and try to be hype, and I'd look over people's heads. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look into the lights kind of thing. But once I toured with D12, I was like, I'm gonna start looking at people, and you see like it might be this little girl who you would never expect would be like loving my kind of music, or it's mostly dudes like, just spitting. I'm like, how the fuck do you know all my shit? Or like, this is a new song. How do you know that? You know what I mean? So I learned that really is just connecting with the crowd, whether it's 15 or 15,000.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm when I first got into the game, I was very socially awkward person too, like, nervous, shy. I've really come out of that shell, especially since doing media. You have to.
You have to, yeah.
Go and get a good interview, you got to come out of that shell. You know what
exactly.
I mean? But, I used to do the exact same thing, man. I go on stage and I would just stare into the light at the roof, or fucking, close my eyes, like act like I was so passionate that my eyes needed to be closed, but really I just didn't want to make eye contact.
Yeah. Oh man, no, I
point on the wall at the back of the venue.
Yeah. That was me, man. I was so awkward, but like I said, D12, man, it's watching them connect with people, and just, man, like, and they same thing. They would get off stage and go talk to people, like till they were getting kicked out of the club. You know what I mean? So just humble guys, man. And I've toured with so many asshole rappers, and like, me and Quake talked about it a while back. Like, I swear to God, if I had like a top 5 rappers I've opened for, of like MCs I admire as a lyricist and whatever, 4 of them were assholes. And then there's guys like, I don't really care for the music as much, but they're like awesome people. Like, not that I'm saying that with D12, I love D12, but like, for the most part, a lot of the guys I open for, they just, and I don't judge people because, I know Nas came here one year, and his flight was late. He had to, once he got off the plane, he had to go right to the stage, and he was like, everyone was complaining, like, oh, you didn't even say what's up to me. Like, I mean, I get it. After like touring for so long, I get it. Like, as much as I try to be nice to people, there's some times where I got to jump in the shower and go right to the show. Yeah. So if I'm sitting talking to you, you know what I mean? Like, I had a girl a couple summers ago, like, I met you at the show years ago, and you're kind of a dick to me, and blah, blah. It's like, I probably got pulled away to go on stage. Like, but people take that away, and that's how she thinks of me now. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I consciously try to like not do that to people, but I don't blame artists for when they have to do that shit, Yeah,
it's difficult. It can be really difficult. Actually, I'm curious too. I don't know if you want to say anything, but just mentioning out of artists, that you worked with or like toured with and stuff that you admire their pen game or their music, but then they end up being assholes. Who's like the biggest asshole you had to work with? If you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but I'll give you my answer if you want yours.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know if we'll display the names, to be honest. I can go the other way and see what the cool guys were, but
that's cool. I'll give you mine. No, I won't dive into it, but fucking they're assholes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had a good experience interviewing them about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
It's hard to listen.
Yeah, I got a few of those, man. I just don't know divulge just in case I got to do another tour with them or something. Like, I don't know.
I don't
yeah.
I don't believe you at all. But so like, cause you toured with Slaughterhouse as well too, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, that was the same as the D12 tour. Actually, you know what? I love him to death, but Joe Budden was an asshole.
Really?
Yeah. The tour, that was a Canadian tour with Slaughterhouse just formed.
Yeah.
And the tour was supposed to be D12, us, oh man, I can't remember his name. The Got Some Teeth guy. Detroit.
Oh, Obi Trice, Obi Trice.
Obi Trice, yeah. Obi Trice backed out, so then Royce and Budden came on. But they were beefing at the time, like right before that. I don't know if you remember that. It was a big.
That's right when they formed then.
Yeah. So here's what happened. We get on the bus, and I'm like, I knew Royce was coming. So I get on the bus and see Joe Budden, and I'm like, what the fuck? I thought you guys hate each other. And like Joe Budden just laughs, like, ha, it was business, nigga. I'm like, oh. So like that whole beef was just business to start Slaughterhouse, like, you know what I mean? Which it was smart at the time. They were getting views like crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, and it was some good pen game shit. But yeah. So I mean, yeah, that was really how Slaughterhouse started. I think was them guys going at each other.
That's crazy that you're on the first tour with them too, like right as they fucking joined. Because you're right. They went from having beef right into doing Slaughterhouse record to
Yeah, and we were on the bus like it was probably the coolest part of all my whole touring years was just the music side of like being on Budden and Royce and Class and like hearing the music because Royce was just finishing up his Street Hop I think was album.
Yeah.
And they were playing some Slaughterhouse records and you're sitting there listening to songs that aren't going to come out for 2 years or a year and they're just crazy. And you're like, you know what I mean? I want to copy that shit. I want to show my friends, but you can't. You just sit there just wait for that shit to come out like everybody else.
Literally,
but that's probably one of the coolest parts.
Literally witnessing history. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
And I remember when we talked last time, you told me a hilarious story about that tour with a night Joe Budden hired some escorts and
oh yeah.
I don't know if you want to go back in that story.
No, it's a famous story. I'll leave it there, but there's I could probably write a book about that tour, but I have them guys would probably want to half kill me.
Yeah. That's funny, man. One thing I'm curious though, before we do move on from that tour too. Oh, shout outs to Flight 9. They're there. That was OB who I interviewed you with a few years back.
Oh, okay, what's up, man?
Sitting there laughing.
Yeah.
Curious too.
He remembers that story.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he does. But you also mentioned too having a drinking competition with Shot Claire. It was at the Unexplainable Hunger Shoot.
Yeah.
Did you because Royce was still drinking back then, if I'm not mistaken. Did you ever have any competitions with Royce while on tour with them?
Well, here's the thing. Royce was a Patron drinker.
Yeah.
Right. I can't fuck with tequila. Like I'm a beer guy. Like I can drink the vodka, the rums, the whiskeys, whatever.
Yeah.
But like Royce would straight up go on stage and have a bottle of Patron, and by the time he got off, the Patron was gone, and could still spit and and he was a little stumbly at the end, but like we had some funny drinking little moments on tour, Royce, but we didn't actually have like any competitions or anything. But he honestly one of the funniest guys, and I'm glad he's doing his sober thing now, and he's got fit and he's worried about his health and stuff. But man, a drunk Royce, there was nobody funnier, bro. Nobody funnier. Yeah, we'd be sleeping and he'd be popping his head in like IV J-Bru, like telling people on the phone with us, like you know what I mean. He'd be like, "Diddy's on the phone," and he'd give you the phone. You're like, "What?" And like he's on the phone, like it just spontaneous and funny, man. Royce is a funny guy. Yeah,
that's fun. Are we connected again? Yeah, I think we're good. I had to come off the side on the phone there for a sec. So I do want to go, a bit into the actual history of the music, though. So the Jason LP, that was the first album you did with Life, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was kind of like, what was like, what was the feeling of like making that album? Like, did you record all that at Class's studio?
Yeah, the Jason LP, that was at Class's studio. Yeah, we hit like a 2 or 3 years of touring, and I was hitting those conversations with people like, "Oh, I can't believe this. I can't believe you're doing that." And when I was coming from tour, I was working at Foot Locker. I worked there like 7 years or off and on, right?
Yeah.
And I had people come to Foot Locker like, "I can't believe J-Bru works at Foot Locker." Like, I'm a real fucking guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I come home from tour. If I'm not touring, I don't make money. So that's where the Jason LP come from. I just like, no. And to be honest with you, no one even calls me Jason except family and people that know me from a kid. Like it's Jay. I go by Jay, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Let's put my little face on the cover from as a kid. Jason LP. I talked about some shit nobody knew from when I was a kid. But I just wanted to get people to know the real me. Like, so I had a couple songs on there that were just from the heart. You know what I mean? Like just showing you who I was instead of just, you know, I've never been like the super bravado guy. I always had the feeling songs on there, but I went extra ham on that type shit for this album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing, throughout your music too. Like when I first got familiar with you through class, right? Like you were kind of like, you were like the tough guy Half-Life. You know what I mean? Like you were
yeah.
You know what I
mean? I was like the Suge Light. They call me Suge Light.
Yeah, man. Like you were kind of like, you were kind of like the gangster dude of the group in like my eyes, right? But then you go through and listen to your music does not represent that at all. Like you actually are very introspective, very deep. Like you always make very, very personal songs. What is it about music that do you ever feel that when you're writing the songs, because you have some very personal shit, like do you go in like with the blinders on, like not worried about what you say about who you offend? Or like, is there ever like a line there where you're like, shit, I might have crossed this? Because I mean, like, you get pretty personal on some shit. Like,
yeah, no, man, there's no lines for me, bro. It's like, I mean, if I had to go back to where it comes from, I was kind of like, I'm from that family, man, that wasn't, affectionate, and we didn't talk about our feelings. And I had an old school father, so I had all this pent up stuff to talk about, and I never had a lane or an avenue.
Yeah.
So when I got into music, it's just a natural person I am. Like, if I never did music and me and you became friends and we were sitting there having some beer, I'll talk about some shit and you'll be like, gee, you know what I mean? Like, so it just kind of was a natural progression. Once I started music, it was a way to get that stuff off my chest. So whether it was like when my mom passed away or one of my best friends passed away, or, my battles with depression, I've talked about suicide and, it's stuff I still battle with to this day, but it's something that maybe when you meet me, like everyone's like, oh, J-Bru's so nice and friendly and always laughing and smiling, but that's not the guy you see at home by himself. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So it's just, when it came to the music, man, I always felt like I had to be that person. I had to let everyone know who the real me was because, there's songs that touch me from other artists. And to this day, I remember people's names that have hit me up in one email, like, yo, my mom killed herself. Like, I listen to Raining every day before I, go to bed or da-da-da. I remember those people, like, to this day. So it's those people that always kept me going when I was like, shit's happening in my life. I don't want to rap no more. Those people, I'm like, I need to make music for those people. And it's not that they make music for other people, but it's just they need to hear the real shit. That's why I've never been that fake. I never really exaggerated. Like, even with my last couple of projects doing like the King of Halifax and the King shit, as fun as it wasn't me. Like, and it's not something that people don't realize. I didn't name myself the King of Halifax. That was kind of bestowed upon me.
Yeah.
So, I spit some more cocky bars for the last couple of years, but at the end of the day, that it's not really who I wanted to be. So, like, even when I told you now that I'm quarantined, you're going to see some shit coming. It's going to be that darker J-Bru shit. It's going to be that shit that makes you want to have tears run down.
I could be mistaken, because I used to get wild drunk when I was a teenager, and I used to go see you guys live. But I'm pretty sure one night, I think you did Rain, and you actually cried while you were performing it.
Yeah, you know what? I only performed that song like 4 times ever, bro. Like,
really?
Yeah, like there was probably the same tour. Or maybe not 4, maybe like 7 or 8. But one of the first couple times I did it, I broke in tears doing it. So like it was probably that show. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like with making songs so music's always been kind of more therapeutic for you though.
Yeah.
Have you ever crossed that line? Like, I know, like, going into the music, you said you don't think about it, but have you ever, like, do you have records you've made where, like, looking back, you're like, shit, like, or like where you've tainted like a relationship with somebody, you know what I mean? You're kind of like, I wish I could maybe back or redo that.
Yeah, to be honest, I had I mean, there was one song, I Got a Secret, which was about me getting molested as a child.
Yeah.
And my mom never knew, my dad never knew, I never told anybody.
Oh,
I think I
wow.
might have told my brother at one point. So that song came out, and my mom called me like bawling, like, what the fuck, da da da. And like, she knew from the song who it was, you know what I mean? But I always felt like I should have probably reached out to that person first to let them know I was doing the song, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any regrets, but in hindsight, I probably should have reached out to them. I mean, like I said, I didn't tell nobody, so we didn't go through the courts, nothing like that. So at the end of the day, they probably could have took me to court on some like slander shit, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, no regrets, like I said. But that's one big one that makes me think of that. Yeah, I mean, other than worrying about what people think, nah, man. I kind of do the song and I just go with it and I put it out and say fuck it. You know what I mean? I let the fucking ball go where it goes.
So the person, who did that to you, like they heard the song then at some point?
I don't know to this day. I don't know to this day. It was someone close to my family, but it wasn't a family member. So
yeah.
After they had, left the last time I saw them, I never spoke to them again. So I don't know. We grew up in the same communities and stuff. So I'm sure somebody must have showed them, but I'm not really sure. Yeah.
And because two of the more recent songs you have out online, Drifting Part 1 and Part 2, they're very deep. And we got each other on social media and shit, so I seen you talk about some stuff as it happened and stuff. But just that story, man. It's heart wrenching and just sorry you had to go through something like that.
Yeah. No respect, man. It's not that I wish that on anybody, but the blessing of kind of going through what I've been going through there is I helped start a group called Dads Canada, Dads Against Double Standards, and we're doing community work and things like that. And I'm just trying to help other dads, and that's another big reason why I've been kind of doing the hiatus for music. Is I've been so entrenched in this dad stuff, and I'm kind of known as like the dad guy now. But I'm just trying to help in any way I can, man. And if any dad goes through what I've gone through with my second son's mom, I don't wish that upon anybody, but at the same time, I've been through it, so I think I have the tools to help, and that's really just what I'm trying to do there. So,
and
if I can somehow connect that life with my music life through fundraisers or something, or some type of awareness, whether reaching out, there's so many dads in the music industry. If I can work on some type of project, maybe I can get something popping there. But it's not I've been thought about, but just kind of popped in my head now. So.
And actually, tell us a little bit about the Dads organization, too, because I did want to ask you about that.
Yeah, so Dads Against Double Standards, DADS. It's like back in 2017, 16. Basically, man, I thought my son's mother was going to jail, and everybody that I'm talking to, like lawyers, the Crown attorneys, police officers that were on the case or whatever was happening, were like, you need to be prepared if she goes to jail. They don't just hand you your kid. So I'm like, okay. So I listened to everybody. I went to court. I went and did all the things they told me to do. And then it turned out she didn't go to court, or she didn't go to jail. Sorry, she did go to court and got convicted, but she didn't go to jail. So while I was reaching out and trying to work out my plan with my son, I reached out to some she used to beat on me and stuff. So I reached out to some like shelters and stuff like that. Not to go there to stay, but like just to see if there's any help for men.
Yeah.
And most of the shelters didn't even call me back, didn't even like have any help for me. So I realized, bro, there's nothing for dads, nothing, like zero help. In hindsight, not even my situation. If a dad, goes and the mom gives birth in the hospital on a Tuesday and dies on a Wednesday, the father's like kind of fucked because if you don't really know what you're doing with kids, there's no help for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just kind of flipped that into everything I had to learn on my own, like the trial and error wise, to do this dad programming. I went and took courses. I went up to Ottawa and took all these courses to run parenting programs. And I'm a car seat technician, like, believe it or not. Like, there's little things I just got certified for so I can help the community and help fathers. So I kind of flipped that into an organization that raises money. We do parties. For kids, I mean, like say if a father doesn't see his kid for 8 months and then finally gets him back, like we'll help him throw a birthday party for the kid. Like there's little things we're trying to do to just heighten awareness, man, for dads, because I don't shit on moms, man. It's not my style. I'm not trying to be that guy, but dads don't get a fair shake in court. Dads don't get a fair shake when it comes to police.